It was in late December that Aquaman 2 finally came to theaters after like 3 or 4 different release dates and pushes and the reshoots and the drama and all that kind of stuff. It finally came out. Now, everybody hated this movie. I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was particularly good. I certainly didn't think it was as good as Aquaman 1, but I think my enjoyment outweighed the cringe a little bit. Just barely. I'll come out on the, I didn't mind Aquaman 2. So I think that makes me somebody who I probably liked it a lot more than most people did. At any rate, the first Aquaman movie was the first and only DCEU billion-dollar film. Now, we all knew, at least some of you crazies out there were insisting the sequel was still going to make $1 billion, but most of us all knew that it wasn't going to make $1 billion. But some fools, namely me, still insisted that, okay, it's not going to make $1 billion, but Aquaman 2 will become the first DCEU movie in over 5 years out of their last 7 films to crack the $400 million mark.
Me too.
I said, I mean, it won't make $1 billion, but it'll at least become the first DCEU film out of the last 7, out of the last 5 years, since the last Aquaman, to break the $400 million mark. Well, it looks like I was wrong. Because as of right now, if we go over and take a look at this, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, after 4 weekends, is sitting at $378 million. And I actually don't think it's going to make the next 22 million it needs to make to crack that. It's going into its 5th weekend. More stuff's come out in theaters. It looks like maybe I was wrong about that. And so the DCEU is going to finish by not having a single of its last 8 films make more than $400 million. To compound and kind of put an exclamation mark on the disaster that this was, not as big of a disaster as the Marvels, but to put an exclamation point on the disaster that this was, it looks like DC is kind of waving the flag, and they're going to rush this thing out onto digital, as reports are now coming out that January 23rd. Mm-hmm. That's like 1 month exactly almost. Ray, double check the release date for Aquaman 2, but I think it was like December 22nd or something like that. I could be off about that. But January 23rd, they're going to release this thing for VOD. They're going to put it out on Apple Play. They're going to make it available on Roku. Not streaming on HBO yet, or not streaming on Max yet. That'll come a little bit later. But for rent and purchase, this thing's going to be available
December
20th. So almost 1 month from when it came out. 5 days from now, they're waving the right flag at the box office saying, we're just going to make this thing available on digital now on January 23rd. Look, I know the vast, vast, vast majority of people did not expect Aquaman 2 to hit that $1 billion mark as well. But while I only guaranteed it would make over 400 million, it looks like I was wrong about that too. I thought, I'll be honest, I didn't think $600 or $700 million would be outside of the realm of possibility. I mean, the first one made $1 billion. People love Jason Momoa.
P. Willie.
Everybody loves P. Willie. There's something wrong with you if you're not on that P. Willie train.
Yeah, everyone needs some Willie.
Check my watch, but I'm not wearing one.
Needs some Willie. There's your new T-shirt right there. I like, even with all the drama, but considering the drama and all that kind of stuff, I thought, okay, clearly not $1 billion, but I don't know how they look at this as anything but a big disappointment, because the reported budget on this thing was about $205 million. But where it really gets problematic for them is, I just read a report this morning saying they spent, hold on to your hats, $200 million on marketing.
What?
$200 million on marketing. Now, after I picked my jaw up off the floor, that's not actually as crazy as I first thought. Because remember, they remounted this marketing campaign 3 times. They had already mounted their marketing campaign for its original release date the year before. So they spent a shit ton of money marketing it then. And then that all went to waste. And then they really put their foot to the floor, because, God, I couldn't go 12 hours without seeing Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom ads. everywhere I went, billboards, television commercials, trailers dropping. Like you can't blame the marketing campaign for not doing enough to raise awareness. People knew. I think a lot of people forgot because they didn't care, but they were putting this thing in front of people's faces. Now, to do the math, if they spent $205 million making it, and if these reports are right and they spent $200 million marketing it, if those reports are accurate, you're talking about a movie that needs to, at minimum, make $600 million to break even.
So they're like 200 something under.
So they're like, well, they're $200 million in the hole right now.
Going out in a bang.
Go out with a bang.
Come on, DCEU.
And James Gunn and Peter Safran are just sitting back going, hey, this wasn't our movie. We didn't make this one. Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. Guys, it's a brand new year, and a lot of people are making New Year's resolutions, things they want to change about themselves. But I've always believed that it's also equally as important to identify the things we're doing well and building on those. And therapy helps you find your strengths so you can ditch the extreme resolutions and make changes that really stick. I've always believed that nothing impacts our daily performance in our jobs, our hobbies, our relationships like our mental health. And I've also said for a long time that it's about time that we stop just putting emphasis on improving our physical health by getting out to the gym, but also by putting emphasis on improving our mental health as well. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you gotta do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. So guys, celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit betterhelp.com/Campea today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Campea. So, I don't know, Chris, obviously the DCU, with or without Aquaman 2, was going out on a massive whimper. Mm-hmm. Huge box office letdowns for Flash, Blue Beetle, almost everything they did in the last 5 years. How bad is it for them and their legacy that Aquaman finishes out probably under $400 million again? And does this have any negative carryover for when the new DCU launches in 2025? What do you think?
I think so. I think there's a little bit of a thrill me that's kind of coming with Superman Legacy. All right, this better be good. You guys, closed shop, you burnt down house, you did a fire sale. Thrill me. That being said, I do think there's still hope for Aquaman's success in the streaming world. I think this is something where people will finally start seeing it then, because we have seen so many people have that 40-day window of, okay, well, the box office didn't do great, so let's pop it on streaming. I think a lot of people waited to see this, because the thing I kept hearing over and over and over again was, do I need to see this movie? Is this movie important to anything going forward? And people kept saying, well, no, not really, I guess, unless you want to see the finishing of this Aquaman and his journey. So I think a lot of people are also just waiting to go see it. They didn't want to go to the theaters. They didn't want to spend their hard-earned money. They'll just catch it when it's on HBO, when it drops there on Max. So I think there's still hope for people to get some eyes on this. I really think the whole announcement of the DCEU going the way of the dodo, and now we're having the DCU as its own entity, I think that really was the nail in the coffin here, because I think so many people did do well, I don't need to see these movies. I don't get the point. And I know for us as moviegoers and in our bubble, well, every movie makes sense. Every movie, there's a reason to go see it ultimately, just because I want to go see these characters. I want to do this. But I think for people who are more casual comic book fans or casual, superhero genre consumers, it was, well, this one doesn't seem like something I have to watch, including Blue Beetle, including Shazam, including all these others. And on top of that, you do have the kind of mediocrity fatigue, right? Of we've been bombarded with this genre. I'm really going to just kind of wait till I hear good things about something. And this did not have great reviews. So I feel like ultimately just people kept coming back to that. It's not an important one for me to catch. So when they have this new setup, they are going to be, we think that $200 million number is crazy right now. Oh, they're going to do so much marketing for Superman Legacy. There are going to be so many promos. There's going to be so many weird kind of cross-venture pollination things happening. You're going to be Superman in Fortnite. They're going to do everything to make sure that people go see these movies, because they have to tell people again, these movies are important and matter. Whereas I feel like their own treatment of their IP the last few months or years, however you want to look at it, has kind of been, yeah, we made this movie and it's fun. But we also scrapped everything, so take that for what you want.
See, I have this conversation with a lot of people online again who say, well, the DC box office dropped off because it was announced that they were canceling the DCEU. I reject that argument though still, because if that, I contend, and I could be right, I could be wrong. I contend if that were the case, then all the movies DC was putting out prior to the announcement of the cancellation of the DCU would have been making $500, $600, $700, $800 million. But the reality is they weren't making money either. Black Adam came out. And before it came out, they even announced Henry Cavill's back. Big H is back, ladies and gentlemen. The DCEU was continuing. Henry Cavill's in there. Wah, wah. That movie made under $400 million, and people still thought the DC was continuing. So I don't buy this excuse that some people make that it's because they announced it was, well, the movies before weren't making any money either.
Here's the crazy thing about Aquaman.
Yeah.
It's like, I saw it, and I liked it. Like, I had a good time. Like
The first Aquaman or the second one?
The second one. This
Right.
one that just came. But I can't even think about going back and seeing it again in theaters. Blue Beetle? Yes, I would go back and see that.
I really
again
like
in
Blue
theaters.
Beetle. I had a really good time
Maybe
with
even
that.
Black Adam. Maybe even. But Aquaman, after I watched it, I was like, I have no want or any itching to go back and watch it again. And that may be the problem. The rewatchability of some of these movies may be keeping that box office down because other people are just not going to go see them.
People have
at
given
all.
up on the DCU.
Yeah.
Well, it's a death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
All of these different things add up to
And
people
then it
not
compounds.
going. Exactly.
Because like John is saying, the whole reason they're even initiating the DCU with James Gunn is because they're not making money.
People gave up.
So
People
now,
gave up on the
now they're moving
DCEU.
on from it not making money, but now people aren't watching the last few movies because they're closing it down because it's not making money because people don't want to see it, and then it's like it compounds.
Yeah.
So
There's so many reasons for why you would have fallen off this train. Everyone's going to have their own different reason for
Yeah.
it. But ultimately ends up with DC not getting eyes.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.